Hello and welcome. I'd like to welcome you all here to our World Book Day reading brought to you by the Limerick Writer Centre and Quay Books. I want to thank you for coming out. We have a selection of readers for you this evening. We're reading some of their favourite poems, and some people will be reading some original material also. And we're trying to bring a little bit of that Spanish Catalan atmosphere to the occasion. And I'd like to welcome along Austin Durack, who's going to be entertaining us during the evening with some Spanish tunes. And I'd also like to welcome Catalonia, who's going to actually open the programme by reading a Catalan poem in translation. But first of all, before Conchi, I'd like to introduce you to Pat McMahon of Quay Books, who's going to tell us a little bit about World Book Day and its origins. And it is a special day as well because today is actually Shakespeare's birthday and it's also his death day. So it's a nice little bit of synchronicity there. Okay, so we'll give a warm welcome for Pat McMahon.
Thank you very much, Dominic. And on behalf of my sister Marie and myself, I want to welcome you all here to Quay Books and to the Artist Quay Shopping Centre. As Dominic has said, today in Barcelona, the main street, La Ramblas, was filled all day with people at bookstalls and with flowers as they celebrate what's known as St. Jordi's Day. And it is a tradition in Barcelona that goes back to the medieval era. And on this day in Catalonia, men give roses to their lovers and the women give a book and in exchange. It's an absolutely wonderful tradition. Now for the past 17 years, UNESCO has been celebrating World Book Day, and their idea for World Book Day and the date chosen to celebrate it was inspired by this wonderful Catalan tradition of exchanging books and roses. UNESCO have World Book Day because they believe that books are the most powerful form of dialogue between individuals and communities. And it's very important that this dialogue is protected because while the technology of the book is old, it still is cutting edge technology. So that is the wealth that we celebrate on World Book Day. This is the day of the book and the rose, and this is the day of love and culture. So I want to thank Dominic Taylor and the Limerick Writer Centre for making this event possible. And I really appreciate the helpfulness and the attitude and the enthusiasm of Dominic and his team. And I thank him very much for that. I also want to thank Ray Collins, the manager of the Artist Quay Shopping Centre, for all his support. And I want to thank Owen and his team for being so helpful always to Quay Books. So we are just delighted to bring a little bit of the romance and the celebration of Catalonia and St. Jordi's Day to Limerick this evening. And to bring us that romance and to put that romance into action, I give you Dominic Taylor again.
Thanks a million, Pat. Pat mentioned that we have books and roses, but we also have got bags. You'll see them there at the back of your seat, and they're compliments of the Limerick City of Culture. And that's our piece of the 6 million they got from the government. So I'd like to thank them for that. 12 bags. Oh yeah, and a flag. Okay, to start off the evening, as I said, we're going to have a poem in translation from the Catalan. And I'm delighted to welcome Conchi Orthez to reading the 20 minutes.
The name of the poem I'm reading tonight is called Tremulous Light. The smell of vineyard. Tremulous light, the smell of vineyard, the rustic flute of an ardent nightingale that mourns and sings no more. Chased amidst the trees like a virgin passes a row of waves waving on the hilltop.
Okay, this is one you probably all had at school. Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads with gyre and gimbals wave. All mimsy was a borough, and the mole rats outgrain. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jab-Jab bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time his manxome foe he sought. Then rested he by a tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought.
Cremation of Sam McGee. There were strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Levar that cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee where the cotton blooms and blows. When he left his home in the south to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd soon live in hell. On the Christmas day we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold, through the parka's fold, was stabbed like a driven nail.
So this poem is by a local poet from, I guess it was the 18th century, Brian Merriman. He used to hang out around Quay near Scariff, but he lived the latter part of his life actually in Limerick City. It's called Court of Annie. We're going on egg shoe, a Jewish na hound, a wine shaburis and broker down, a neck and a creel to a grim and clay, gan wary, gan wheel, a seal shun lay. The gallop of green and teen, Lockrania, on Paula von Tier is here the stare, kind of a thieving seal the schleche, bagger the king, had been the gainer. The gallop and creel of their creel, like Kianta.
Well, we can't really let Shakespeare's 450th birthday go by today without a little bit of Shakespeare. So we did Sonnet 116. Let me not to the marriage of true minds as this impediment. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bent with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth or note or known, although its height be taken. Love's not time's straw, though rosy lips and cheeks.
Favourite of mine, I suppose, is quite supposed to be a simple poem by A. Houseman. It's from Shropshire Lad. The loveliest of trees, the cherry now, is home with bloom along the bough, and stands about the woodland ride, wearing white for Easter tide. Now all my 30 years and 10, 20 will not
Spirits.
Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burnt the topless towers of Ilion? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. Her lips suck forth my soul, see where it flies. Come, Helen, come, and give me my soul again. Here will I dwell, for heaven is in these lips, and all is dross that is not Helena. I will be Paris, and for love of thee, instead of Troy, shall Wittenberg be sacked.
A Monica. A Tommy drops is a Monica in no man's land. My dad, like all the Nactonese, reads in and out through the holes and reeds and finds this melody. Our souls are air, they hold us together. Listen, the music hall favorite lasts until the end of time. My dad is playing it.
The secret language of birds. The croaking, black tie, tightrope walker with Stone Age beak and Babylonian tongue, perches atop the skin-flint branches, shivering under autumn's breath. Beneath a footpath of...
This is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of three.
By thy long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stopp'st thou me? The bridegroom's doors are open wide, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, mayst hear the merry din.
He holds him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he.
Lay off and hand me grey-beard loon.
Eftsoons his hand dropped he. He holds him with his glittering eye.
The wedding guest stood still and listens like a 3 years child.
Mariner hath it with
one called Origins, and that's the one I'm going to read to you this evening. We walked out of ceaseless rain, out of grey featureless towns into the long light of the northern summer, and found the fields in the fullness of their season. We were never, never the same again. We surveyed panoramas of low stone walls, numerous and varied as old men's wrinkles. Watched pigeons in piebald flocks flap about farmyards as children around church doors on Sundays. Trees looked familiar as locals, and country lanes generated an urgency-like
Thanks
desire.
everybody for coming, you're great. This poem is called Dawn from Federico Garcia Lorca. It's in English. Dawn. Dawn in New York has 4 columns of mire and a hurricane of black pigeons splashing in the putrid waters. Dawn in New York roams on enormous fire escapes, searching between the angels of spikenards of drafted anguish. Dawn arrives, and no one receives it in his mouth, because mourning and hope are impossible there.
Thanks very much indeed. I was just listening to that wonderful guitar music a while ago and saying that it was very, very appropriate that I should have chosen one of Shakespeare's sonnets for the 450th birthday this evening, because the music just complemented that era perfectly. Thank you for that. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, and yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of good or evil luck, of plagues, of dearth, or seasons quality.
I'm going to dedicate this poem to Eileen Hackett, and it's Down by the Sally Gardens by William Butler Yeats. Down by the Sally Gardens my love and I did meet. She passed the Sally Gardens with little snow white feet. She bid me take love easy as the leaves grow on the tree, but I, being young and foolish, with her would not agree. In a field by the river my love and I did stand, and on my leaning shoulders she laid her snow white hand.
It's a Spanish team, so this poem is called Los Peregrinos. The title is in Spanish, but the poem is in English. If I could speak Spanish, I would have written it in Spanish. The pilgrim has no country as he walks along the way. He belongs to a band of brothers worn by stone and clay. He speaks no tongue but the language of fellowship. By night or day, all roads lead the same way, to the tomb of the apostle in a starlit field. When you get there, fellow pilgrim, bend the knee, yield, offer it up, give it over, set yourself free.
What will I do if my mammy dies? I'll sneak into her coffin and close my eyes. They might think I'm dead and leave me alone, and then my poor mammy won't be on her own. I'll cook her meals, we'll both say grace, and thank Holy God for this nice warm place. The silk on the walls, the brass handles and door, sure you couldn't ask God for anything more. I'll stay with mammy and make her better, and when she's well we'll go home together. But I'll have to go if it takes too long, because the ice cream van will be gone.
The long river of your life springs from the Shannon pot, down the boulevards of the city of light, toward the eternal, transient splendor of the eternal city, to join the great river on the land of Sphinx, and pour its water into the Mediterranean Sea, where it unites with the melody of the Greek poetry, and flowing through the pillar of Hercules into the vast Atlantic Ocean, it reached the green Celtic island, lulled by the sun.
My selected to read is Out of Danger by the English lyric poet James Fenton. Hard to be kind and sign the release as the trees their loss approve. Learn as leaves must learn to fall out of danger, out of love. What belongs to frost and thaw, sullen winter will not harm. What belongs to wind and rain is out of danger from the storm. Jealous passion, cruel need, betray the heart they feed upon. But what belongs to earth and death is out of danger from the sun. I was cruel, I was wrong.
The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. Is there anybody there? Said the traveller, knocking on the moonlit door. And his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest's ferny floor. And a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveller's head, and he smote upon the door again a second time. Is there anybody there? He said. But not a word was spoken. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes as he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. This is Rosalind's epilogue from the play As You Like It. It is not the fashion, see the lady the epilogue, but is no more unhandsome than to see the Lord the prologue. If it be true that a good wine needs no bush, it is true that a good play needs no epilogue. But to good wines they do use good bushes, and a good play proves better with the help of a good epilogue. What a case am I then, that am neither a good epilogue nor cannot insinuate with you on behalf of a good play? I am not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg would not become me. No, my way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, O women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as please you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive from your simpering, none of you hates them, that between you and the women the play may